Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. Welcome along to Football Worldwide, and I am absolutely honored and privileged to not only be joined by friends, but take a look at this roundtable. You're not going to get a more objective / non-biased point of view as this. We've got 5 representatives with 5 colleagues. I'll go around the table with what I can see. Riccardo, our friend from where you would rather be, Siracusa in Sicilia. How are you, my friend?
Good, mate. Good, boys. Nice to be back. And yeah, it's going to be a nice show.
It is going to be a good show. Armando, where are you coming from today, bro?
Guys, live from Napoli. I'm here at the Maradona Stadium. They opened for me just for Football Worldwide. How good is this? We become international.
Unbelievable. Adam, my friend, you're still looking happy, bro. I'm glad to see that. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I wasn't. It took 48 hours to sort of get over it, only because there's another 48 hours to another match day in Europe. But yeah, still feeling a bit of pain.
Well said, bro, especially about that 2-day lapse in between fixtures. My goodness, it's getting absolutely chaotic. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome back Anthony, representing the red and black side of Milano. How you doing, bro?
Good. Thanks for having me back, Anth.
Anytime. My friends, it's good to be joined by all of you guys today. And make sure if you are new to the channel to like and subscribe to Football Worldwide and tell all of your friends as we keep on bringing you this Serie A Roundtable exclusive Italian football content. Guys, it looked like a pretty good match day. There were a fair few fixtures that, were a little bit how you going, a couple of upsets, but for the most part, it was pretty much what you expected. In today's particular show, we're going to run through most of the big fixtures, but we're also going to talk a little bit about Salernitana towards the end. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to go through the show with my friends today. So without further ado, let's bring up the results up on the screen. I hope everybody can see it. Let me make sure. Yep, looks pretty good to me. I'll zoom in a tiny bit. But basically, Bologna and Genoa, it was 3-3. I've actually got that one wrong, guys. I've got the complete wrong graphic. I'm very, very sorry about that. But to be honest, man, I'll just say the results off the top of my head because I got the right one right here, right now. The first one we're going to
edit.
I will edit this one for sure, man. Actually, let me just take 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I can work with that. First result, Juventus 3, Sampdoria 2, Allegri finally gathering momentum. We're joined by Riccardo today to represent us from the Bianconeri side of things. Are you happy with the first 2 wins under Allegri's belt, man? Because it took a while to come around, but sort of showing that sort of fight that you want to see with Allegri, but still some warning signs, Riccardo.
Well, guys, we're still in intensive care at the moment, but we definitely got to come out alive. We say in a medical way. We're coming out of. We've been in intensive care for the start of the season, and I think the cure is starting to work. Still long way to go. Yeah, happy with the 2 win. Sampdoria, against Sampdoria, probably we could have scored more goals the first half. We did it. This is one of our problems this year. Then the Bala injury was really could have changed the game in the worst part, but actually the team stepped up again and we went 3-1. Then we got the 3-2, and the difference the other game. This time we played the game. We didn't have a Sampdoria attacking a lot. So yeah, happy with the 2 win, but guys, yeah, still a long way to go. And hopefully I think the team will probably in January go back to the transfer market because. Probably need 2 midfielders, but part of that, I think the Chiesa step up, the Elite step up, Locatelli starting to go in gear, Alessandro having 2 amazing games. Yeah, I mean the team is there, but still long way.
100%, man. Allegri up on the screen right now, having a little bit of criticism for his bench players up until 2 weeks ago, man, with some rumors that Chiesa might be unhappy. Riccardo, I'm going to stay on you for a second. Like with Allegri, man, do you think it's going to take a while for certain players to adjust to his pragmatic approach? Because I'm willing to assume that not only is he pragmatic on the pitch, he can sometimes be tough to deal with off the pitch as well.
Well, I think, the critics he had for the young players, but that was after the game we draw. I think the young people actually step up with Spezia. If you see the goal of Chiesa with Spezia, that's what Allegri wants. He wants the garra, the run for every ball. The goal of Chiesa was unbelievable. He ran for a ball was nearly going out with all the other people on the pitch walking, and then he scored. I think one of the best goals I ever see. And I don't think he's unhappy, man. This is all media talk. You know what I mean? If you coach by a coach like Allegri, you know, sooner or later you gotta go in the right gear. Unfortunately, you know, you guys, living in Italy, it's a lot of it have to do with the media. Probably Armando know this. You know what I mean? It's I'll do an example. You know what I mean? You were won with Spezia 3-2, and the media wrote, and even the journalists on Sky and DAZN, they went, lucky win. That's fine. Then Milan, same game, same way. Heroes, the Milan Heroes win in Spezia. So it's there's two ways for, you know what I mean? Juventus always, the journalists have to make it's a miracle, and the other team it's a win of the Heroes. So we all watch soccer. We all grown up enough to understand. I'm not happy for the start, but I'm happy with the way we're going. Now we need to just keep not losing games. But we've been conceded for 20 games. So until we don't stop conceding.
Yeah. I would just say, basically, man, as you said, just like keep it up. It doesn't really matter how you win games at this point. Allegri has always been that sort of coach where he's like, he literally said in his own words, it doesn't matter if you play beautiful football. We're in a results business. This business is a results business. And at the end of the day, if you're not going to get the results, then you're not in the right business here. So well said, man. I'm going to throw it out to the rest of the table before we move on to the next game. Armando, just quickly in 1 minute or less, Juventus picking up a couple of wins. Obviously, they're going to start picking up points as the season goes on. Do you see them slowing down or having any sort of internal problems?
If you remember, I've been saying when they were losing, don't cut Juventus out. I'm not going to cut them out now. They start winning. Also, I was lucky to watch Juve Sampdoria because it was a perfect time for Australia. It was 8:30 at night. And there's a couple of players in Sampdoria that I follow a lot. And I noticed something. Juventus, like Riccardo said, has got a couple of players really good. It's got a couple of players. We don't know if they're having a bad start and they can be good or not. But I noticed, and I want to wrap it up quickly, 3 players in that game between Sampdoria and Juventus that should never been in Serie A. 2 from Sampdoria, Di Paoli on the right, and the striker, the number 90 coming at the end, Torre Grosso, whatever is his name.
Torre Grosso.
Di Paoli was losing every single ball every time Sampdoria tried to come out from the right because he was facing his own team. Could always disgusting. And I don't understand why Sampdoria facing Juventus, keeping the 2 best players, Angela and the guy on the right. I forgot the name.
Damsgaard.
You don't facing Salernitana, stupido. And also from Juventus, Bernardeschi. Now that I watch him playing a full game, now I know why Juventini are so frustrated. I was like, wow.
He was very bad in this particular game. In this game, he was not good.
Particular game, Riccardo, but now I understand you guys when you guys talk about Bernardeschi. I always thought you guys were talking pressure about him. I watch him play. That kid that can't touch a ball without passing it up. 1 or 2 passes good in the whole game. Unbelievable.
Anth, you want to tell me that rule? Anth, what's our rule about Anthony C?
Yes.
We've got a rule that we're not allowed to bag any of the Euro 2020 heroes.
It started in 2006.
What a player, Bernardeschi.
I don't agree, Adam.
We said, no, they're sacred to us. They've given us the World Cup in 2006 and in the Euro. So we try, even Florenzi's a tough one for me now because...
Even Simone Barone, what a player.
But Bernardeschi, leave him alone. Leave Bernardeschi alone.
Juventus slowly is coming back. Look at the ladder. Now look the ladder 3 weeks ago. Never cut Juventus off. You know when you cut Juventus off?
When the math says it's possible. When the math says it's possible.
At 3 games to the end, and you plus 10 on Juventus. Then you cut Juventus off the race.
Of course. I think everyone would agree. We're going to stay in Turin for now, man. The other side of Turin, Torino grabbed another good point. You might argue it's not such a good point. Juric's boys, maybe not the result they wanted, but 8 points now in their first 4 games, boys. Their last 4 games, I should say. So they're still traveling well. For the 26-year-old Aramu, who scored for Venezia, he equalized with a penalty on the 79th minute. But basically, that wasn't enough. He didn't celebrate because, as a fun fact, it might be good to know that he actually grew up as a Torino fan and was a youth player in the Torino side. So the player that scored the penalty for Venezia was a youth product, and he did not celebrate that goal at all. But, you know, a good win for a good point for Juric's men still on the road, even if it is up against a side that just recently got promoted. To be honest, man, I'm actually really enjoying watching them play, and I got up to watch them play this morning, and I just wanted to make sure that I still gave them a shout out on this particular show because they are looking good. And not only are they going to survive relegation this season, Torino, but they are going to survive it comfortably with Juric at the helm. I think they're actually starting a little bit of a cycle that could be built over time. I see them as a club that might actually be staying in that 7th to 10th position for more than 1 year, 2, 3, 4 years. And it just looks like they're building the right project at the moment. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. And because we're kind of strapped for time on this particular podcast.
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, Torino.
Yeah, I was going to ask you know what's next game?
Yeah.
Torino Juventus. And ask Riccardo. Riccardo, when was the last time Juventus and Torino went into a derby with 1 or 2 point distance only?
No, the same point. Never. I think never.
Same point, actually.
Really? No. Never on the same points?
Yeah,
I think in the last 15 years for sure.
No.
Yeah.
And if they were won this morning, it'll be the first derby now. In 50, 60 years, they've been ahead.
Yeah. Long time ago, like 10 years ago, 35.
There will be a very interesting derby, not because I think Torino is better than Juventus. Juventus on paper is way better, but for the first time, they're going to head-to-head. And if you can charge them in the head, there's going to be a very tough game for you.
Yeah, Juric, really good coach. I like Juric.
He is a very, very good coach, man. He is a very, very good coach. And we all said it at the start, like it was Hellas Verona's loss and it was Torino's gain. After finally finding that graphic, I can finally point towards the rest of the results. Inter and Atalanta turned out a 2 draw. Spezia 1, Milan 2. In terms of the results we haven't discussed yet, Udinese were pegged back at home by Fiorentina 0-1. Sassuolo 1, Salernitana 0, Empoli and Bologna 4-2. I'm going to get to that in a moment. I also can't wait to talk about Lazio slightly defeating Roma. I'm looking forward to Adam talking about that. And Napoli maintain their position at the summit. Guys, the next game that we are going to talk about was Inter versus Atalanta, but I was actually honored and privileged to be joined on my other channel, Inter Worldwide, by my friend Nick from the Atalanta Passione channel over in North Carolina in the United States. It was an absolute pleasure to be joined by him. We had a nice little discussion about what was a really end-to-end fixture. So, guys, without further ado, I'm just going to cut to that fixture right now. So, enjoy it. We'll be back in a moment. Nick, what a fixture. It was end-to-end stuff, the kind of stuff you expect from an Atalanta versus Inter fixture. It's been absolutely chaotic the last few times we played each other, mate. But what did you think of this particular fixture that went past, man? Because towards the end, I can tell you what, we might be looking back on it saying it was exciting and entertaining. I wasn't having that much fun in the last 10 minutes, mate. What about you?
No, I think fun, when you look back on it now, yeah, fun's probably a good word for it. But, geez, my heart was racing. Probably, like you said, the last entire 10 minutes. DeMarco steps up to the penalty stripe, and I'm thinking, this is over. Here's the game right there. And then, geez, hits the crossbar, clinks it off there. And then at the other end, when Piccoli had the unfortunate error, I guess it's not his error, of just having that ball go out on the goal line, just, centimeters wide, and then having his goal taken away. So just unbelievably back and forth, where both teams really thought it could have been 3-2 right at the end. But overall, I think going into this match from an Atalanta perspective, I was fearful of not gaining any points. I thought the way you guys have been playing, the way we've kind of struggled in the early going, I think I was kind of forecasting, a loss for us. But being able to come away with any sort of points, regardless kind of how the game played out, at the end of the day, I'm really happy about. And when you take a step back from it and get away from all the emotion that was really driving along in that game, walking away with a point, I think is good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just a quick question to you. Was there anything that impressed you about our Inter side on the pitch, or is there something that you looked at our Inter side and went, you know what, that's looking pretty good this season?
I think, well, everyone already knows how good Nico Barella is, but his crossing was just sublime. Not only was he able to get Lautaro his first goal, but right at the end, he almost had Dzeko sitting up nicely with he just put the header wide. So comparing him to seeing the way some of our guys cross, especially our wing backs, it's like we just need somebody like that who knows how to place a ball in right there. But beyond all the things Barella does on the field, I think that really stood out. And just having an engine and the motor in the midfield like that pays dividends for whatever side you're on. And especially you guys are really fortunate, I think, to have him.
Absolutely, man. Everybody knows I'm his biggest fan. So my next question to you, man, is how is Atalanta shaped so far in their season? We know that you guys like to start a little slow under Gasperini. Has the start been what you expected? And just from an Atalanta fan's perspective for you, for me and everybody watching, what are your expectations for this season, mate?
Sure. So it's weird. I'm looking at the standings now. We're tied for 6th with Lazio after 6 match days. And how the season's progressed to this point, how it kind of has felt very nerve-wracking for us, given the fact that we've had a really uneven start, haven't really offensively clicked yet. The most goals we've had in the match is 2 at this point, which isn't really what you expect from an Atalanta side at this point. And surprisingly, the defense has been kind of stingy to help make up for that. But ignoring all of these really uneven matches that we had, I think to be tied for 6th place in the European spots, and we're 7 points off Napoli right now, but still, I think within spitting distance to those European places, especially the Champions League top 4 spots, it's a good position to be in when it's all said and done. We had one of our best signings, Teon Koopmeiners, that we brought in at the window, came in after the first 2 matches that we played. So we never really had a fully formalized team until we actually played against Fiorentina on match day 3. So it just felt like the start of the season came up very hectically. And it took a while for everything to surface and for everyone to gain their composure, I think, for the most part. But now that everything's passed, our brutal stretch where we face Sassuolo, you guys, and then Milan next week is getting to that end and then we kind of have not an easy fixture schedule, but I think it's a little more favorable for us. Once we get past that part, I think hopefully we start to see things click a little more. Our starting 11 is kind of materialized for what we think the best match formation is going forward. And hopefully we can get back in the top 4. I think that's really the goal again this year. You can really think maybe there's like an outside chance at a Scudetto. That's always a nice dream. But I think for the reality, just being able to continuously place in the top 4 is Atalanta's goal at this point every year until something changes one year where we can reassess what the new goals are. But definitely getting back into the top 4, I think, is a reasonable and I think a goal that can be attained again if we continue to go in this upward trajectory that we've kind of been going on ever since the first couple of games.
I would have to completely agree. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us today.
Yep, no problem, man.
Thank you to my friend Nick joining us from the Passione Atalanta Club over in North Carolina, all the way over there, man. And you can understand his optimism. And I said this to a couple of other friends as well, boys. We could be in a situation at the end of this season where you might still be in the position to win the title and finish outside of the top 4. You could never know, but that's the sort of discussion we're going to have later on here on Football Worldwide. So thank you so much to my friend Nick for being able to dedicate that time for us on Inter Worldwide and being able to make sure that we're able to let everybody know on Football Worldwide where you're from. So, guys, if you're looking for some Atalanta English-speaking content, you know where to find Atalanta Passione based in North Carolina, Carolina in the US. Next fixture, over to my brother Adam. Not the result you wanted, my friend, the eternal derby. Oh, man, I'm just going to leave it straight over to you. You have the floor.
Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, look, not the result I wanted personally, but I'll try and remain as partial as possible because there's no one to represent Lazio here. So, look, I'll start from the end, I guess. And Mourinho's comments after the game were that he thought that we were the best team on the pitch and the refereeing was decisive. So, a lot to unpack there. And there's a lot of subplots that played out during the game. I'm not making any excuses at all. I don't think that we're deserving to be victors, but I probably thought that a draw might have been a fair result. First point of contention was that second Lazio goal where, on another day, maybe a different referee and maybe someone else on the VAR, Zaniolo might have been paid that penalty, which then led to Pedro, of all people, scoring that second goal. Everyone feared that he might pop up for a goal, which normally does happen when a player goes to another club, scoring against their previous club, and it definitely happened. Look, defensively, I just don't think we're there. We just weren't good enough. You would have seen the positioning for the first goal. Mitrovic-Savic popping up in between Ibanez and Mancini to head past Rui Patricio, who may have been able to come out quicker and punch that ball, but I don't think he was at fault there. And then, it took us 20 minutes to start playing. We were playing catch-up for the rest of the game. We popped up just before half-time with Ibanez from a set piece, and it was game on. And you look, for the first part of that second half, we probably were the better team. The Lions' share of possession. Chances sort of materialised. We couldn't get the ball on target. Couldn't break them down either. Credit to Achebe. I don't think he gets enough plaudits as a defender, but I thought he was fantastic. But you look at the stats, double the shots on target, and we come away 3-2 with a 3-2 loss. I know I've banged on about our defensively as a team on this show over a few weeks, and it was evident again that when we lose possession in that transition period, we always look vulnerable. So it doesn't matter where we lose the ball, even if it's in our front third. We look like we're going to get the counter's going to happen, and they're going to create a goal scoring chance, and they happen all too often. And that third goal was just atrocious from a Roma's point of view. The amount of men that we committed forward at a really delicate time of the game, halfway through that second half, I thought could have been managed a little bit better. But we conceded there. A credit to the boys that came back, and Zaniolo won that penalty, and then after that goal, we denied an equaliser with what I think was probably one of the best saves of the season so far from Pepe Reina. Quick right foot shot, which would have been expected because we don't see Zaniolo shoot with his right foot all that often. And there it is. We lost 3-2. A lot to work on. I'm trying to come at this with a glass half full because Mourinho hasn't had a long time to work with his squad. I can see what he's trying to do. The argument can be made: does he have the players at his disposal, or are they just not living up to expectation, or are they just not finding their feet yet in Mourinho's system? So, a lot of discussion that can be happen away from that game, and I'm sure it will happen. In bars across Rome and Roma fans around the world. This week, but dissected that. Got over it now. With it's a new week, but pretty disappointed with the way we lost that. A few points of contention after the game. You might have seen Zaniolo gesticulating to the fans as he came off the pitch. They called his mum a whore for the entire 90 minutes from the stands, and then there was chants about him. But Lazio fans hoping that he gets a career-ending injury, so he lost it a bit at the end and did what he did. As we've been on air, I just got a message from someone in a group chat saying that he might escape with a fine instead of a penalty, which is interesting in Italy. To be suspended, it needs to be captured on the general feed. I don't think it was. It was captured.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was captured on someone's smartphone. So because of that, it can't be used as evidence. So I don't know how he's going to escape with a fine, because if it can't be used as evidence, he shouldn't even be getting a fine. But it might be something club imposed from what I'm reading. So watch that space on that one. But yeah, look, interesting Mourinho's comments protecting the players still after the game.
Yep.
And putting full focus on the refereeing performance, which you make of that what you wish. That's classic Mourinho. But yeah, moving forward, got another big game this week. Got European football on Friday morning, and we're still sitting fourth, amazingly. So, yeah.
Bro, I literally had four. I had 4 follow-up questions for you before you started talking, and now I have 1 follow-up question. So thank you so much for what you just said, bro. My follow-up question was the defensive fragilities, especially for a Mourinho-based team, like they're obvious for anybody to see. Do you think that Roma has to go in January for some sort of centre-back or some sort of defender, or do you think you can go through this entire campaign with the defenders that Mourinho has at his disposal?
If you had have asked me the same question 2 weeks ago, Anthony, I would have said no, because we've got the calibre of Kombula and Smalling on the bench. Smalling was great for us before we got injured last season. I think that the quality's there. I just think that they're not playing to their capability. So my answer to that would be: there's other areas on the pitch that probably take priority at the moment. I definitely think we need a 6. I have no faith in Cristante and Veretout playing together. and Cristante was horrible on the weekend. So in that respect, when you've got 4 centre backs who are starting 11 players, so to speak, I think that will probably dip into the market in January, but not in those positions.
I watched the game.
Yeah.
If I can have a 30-second.
Of course.
Okay. First of all, I think Adam, how Mourinho said at the beginning of the year, if you got 3 Pellegrini, you play 3 Pellegrini. That sentence make a lot, and actually you could see it. You missed Pellegrini on Sunday. That was your main key. Tactically, Sarri first half, I think, got Roma playing. They did the right thing. Milinkovic-Savic goal is Sarri type of tactical. You know what I mean? Coming from a midfielder that goes in as a striker, he just got you in the counter-attack. That's the Sarri. Then you definitely deserved maybe to drop, but that's a saga. Zaniolo, I don't think personally, I don't think the first was penalty. The second was, the first was. So end of the day, if you wait the 2, you got a penalty anyway. Reina did a good job, but this is a derby, man. Could go anyway. That's my.
Well, the last thing I'll say, I don't think it was a penalty either. That first one, when you see it in real time, it wasn't a penalty. When you look at it in slow mo, and he's got his side had his arm wrapped around the Zaniolo's, and you think, yeah, okay, but I can see why it wasn't given. The biggest point of contention for me, and something that I think needs to be looked at, is the interpretation of this jumping with your elbows raised rule. We saw the week before Pellegrini gets sent off for a similar foul, and then Leva doing the same thing in the 50th minute, I think it was, already on the yellow, escape penalty. So I think there's the inconsistency across the board, and that really would have changed the game, I think, if he had got sent off.
But that's the Italian referee.
He take him off straight away after that, because he knew that if he had continued, that he would have probably got his marching orders. So that was probably the most disappointing thing from a refereeing perspective for me, and that's something that Mourinho would have touched on as well after the game.
But I think Pellegrini.
That's what he did touch on.
Yeah,
Pellegrini was a big miss.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that too, Riccardo. You mentioned Pellegrini. What do you think you missed with him in the team, out of the team, Adam? Well, I mean, we know how good he is, right? But what did you really miss?
Miss his leadership. Miss his leadership. He would have been the only Romano out there as well.
He's the only Romano.
And if you've watched him this season, you've seen how he's been able to break lines on his own, and Mkhitaryan unfortunately wasn't able to do that. So I think in those midfielder
in the league up until this game.
in those pockets in between midfield and the opposition defence, that's where he's really shone this year. Because Mourinho's been giving him that liberty to sort of stay high when in on-possession, and I think he's really excelled in that area. So that's definitely where we missed him, but also his leadership.
Yeah, I think when Mourinho does the squad, puts Pellegrini first and then the rest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. He's the most informed midfielder in Serie A when he's on his day. But moving on to my friend,
without him, if you even think that.
Yeah, man, 100%. Riccardo, we're going to have plenty of discussions about this when we approach the World Cup, about how much depth we have in midfield, considering we were literally using 60% of the midfielders we had in Euro and came away with the bloody trophy, man, like dead set. Going over to my friend Anthony now, there's only one name on everybody's lips. It starts with an M. It ends in an Aldini. The generation continues. You have the floor, bro. Go for it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, if you look behind me, there's a photo of his old man there. And that was on his last day at the San Siro when it, went a bit sour. But what he did for the club is, no one can dispute that. I've read a few, like when Maldini scored the goal, I jumped out of my seat. It was a moment that you just enjoyed as a Milan supporter. There's some people around saying, "Oh, you guys are getting excited over Maldini, scoring his first goal. He's never going to play again, or he's going to be back on the bench." Yeah, maybe. No one's saying he's a Paolo Maldini. You can't replace Paolo Maldini. He's one of a kind. But if you enjoy romance in football and you're that old school supporter where these stories don't come around very often, where his grandfather played for Milan, his dad, and now his son to score his first goal on his first start. You can't blame the Milan supporters for getting excited. So it was a really good moment for us to experience. And I'm wrapped for the kids. He didn't get much time last year. He hasn't got much this year either. And in his first start, he gets us off the board and decent header, a bit reminiscent of his dad with, the header in the air. Not as good, but still, nonetheless, it was a great goal. look, our game was a scrappy game. You know, we won ugly, but you need those wins if you're going to succeed in this league. Sometimes you just need to scrap out that 2-1 win or that 1-0 win, and that's how you get yourself, you know, up the ladder and maybe even to a championship. It wasn't our best performance. You know, Kessie starting was an interesting one for me after last week. We weren't sure if he'd get back in the lineup, but he did. But, you know, throughout the game, Spezia caused us problems, especially on the counter-attack. You know, the goal came from some awesome play from Leao, who came off the bench and created some magic on the left, got it out to Kalulu again, who played really well, and a beautiful cross into Maldini for the header. We got really lazy after that goal, I felt. Looked like we were just trying to hold possession and see the game out, but it just wasn't working. And you know, it was slow-paced movement off the ball, and we weren't creating much. And then, you know, the goal was coming. You know, Bastoni on the right for Spezia was getting forward as much as he could. Put a beautiful ball in just before the goal, I think, to Maggiore, who missed a sitter. It should have been 1-1. And then, you know, even their goal, you know, Theo's an amazing player, don't get me wrong. Going forward, he's brilliant. He can drive out of the box like not many other players can when he gets the ball to his feet and get you forward. But sometimes in defence, he can get a bit lazy. And then you look at the goal that we conceded, I think personally should have really closed down the striker a lot earlier and not let him get that shot off. Unfortunate deflection off Tonali and it went in. But Theo's got to work on the defensive side a bit, I think, if he really wants to become, you know, a world-class defender. So their equaliser was deserved, but credit to Pioli. As soon as we went down, he put Brahim Diaz straight on and, you know, signalled that he's going for the win. And, you know, Salamakers, again, with some magic. You know, in the last two games, in the midweek game against Venezia, he was amazing. And there's a lot of Milan supporters that aren't a big fan of Salamakers. I am personally. I think you can use him in a lot of positions. And lately he's been pulling him from the right into the centre a lot. And he created the goal from the left this week and the tap in for Brahim Diaz, sorry. So, you know, it was a good move by Pioli. If you see when Diaz was running off, he wanted to take his top off and Calabria, being smart, pulled him back. You know, and it's very smart stuff from Calabria. He's becoming a leader of the club, captain when he gets the opportunity, and saved Brahim with another yellow. We need our players. You know, we've got Atletico Madrid coming up. We've got Atalanta coming up. So we need to make sure they don't do anything stupid and test our depth. I think, Adam, you asked me about the depth last week. You know, we're starting to use it a bit now. You got Kalulu, Maldini, Pellegrini got a run. You got some plays that are out. Krunic is still to come back. Ibra, Simon Kjaer. So Pioli was very smart over these two games. Gave some of those bench players a run. That was good to see. But look, overall, 2-1 win. We'll take it. The Kessie saga is continuing. You know, there's something going on there, and I'm just a bit worried it might derail us a bit because you can see he's not the happy player he was last year. So the quicker they get that sorted, the better. But Armor, I'm looking up at you right now, and that's where you are on the ladder, and we're coming for you. We've got a tough week, but this.
What are you talking about? You better stay there.
We're coming for you. But you know, 2 wins out of 2, I can't be happier. Let's hope it continues.
Yeah, man. Like, well said, bro. Once again, I had about 3 questions to ask you, and you answered all of them, man. I remember when we spoke about 7 days ago, I told you I was absolutely packing it for the Fiorentina game, and turns out Inter got 3 points. And you know, when you win a game like that, it sort of gives you not a license to drop points, but you know what I mean. When you come up against Atalanta 4 days later, and you know that a reserve result is not the end of the world, I truly believe that Milan have the depth in their squad this season to be able to grind out enough results to get exactly where they want to be. Inter without Conte this season are destined to drop in between 9 to 15 points. And that's where the gap is going to close on the rivals underneath us. You're going to be right there to nip it in the bud with Amo, with Riccardo, maybe even with Adam as well. But we'll speak a little bit about that more on in.
Is out of the Scudetto run, boys. Come on.
Bro, we're not talking about that
first.
until the maths makes sense, man. Until the maths makes sense, we don't talk about that, bro.
That's right.
Yeah. Man, I just wanted to dedicate a little bit to talk about Empoli. I just wanted to say because, you know, they've gone 3 games in a row unbeaten at home. Sorry, not unbeaten. They've gone 3 games in a row without winning at home this season, and that was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, but they're off the mark. You feel like they had to win this one. An own goal via Bonifazi to start the game off for for Bologna, and you just feel as though this is finally Empoli's day at home. You know, it's match day 6. You got to win a game at home. For God's sake, if you're not going to win now, when are you going to convince the fans that they're going to get their that they're going to get their win? Arnautovic missing a penalty as well, hitting the post. Empoli taking the advantage through, you know, guess who? Uno di noi, one of Inter's own, Andrea Pinamonti. I hope he scores heaps of goals for Empoli this season. So for some unknown reason, they decide to give us a little bit of money and purchase him because he's not good enough for a top-level side. But after Arnautovic breathes a little bit of life into this fixture by scoring a goal, it's Empoli who are going to take the points. I'm glad that they've finally got 3 points because at the end of the day, I want to see these smaller sides get a few points and at least give it a decent crack at survival. Bologna, on the other hand, guys, if I'm allowed to say, will be fine this season. We've seen the way that they play. We've seen the squad that they have, the players that they have. This particular game, absolutely nothing was going right for them. It was a game of the woodwork. The woodwork, the post, and the traversa was hit 7 times in this game in between both sides. 4 from Bologna, 3 from Empoli, absolutely bizarre. But for Arnautovic, he actually still turned out a pretty decent performance. And just keep your eye on this brother because he's probably going to get double-digit goals in this season. He's got an unbelievably arrogant attitude and that can only produce goals as well as a few negative headlines as well. So big up to Arnautovic and big up to Bologna. But more importantly, big up to Empoli for grabbing their first 3 points at home this season.
Remember that? Remember that? The Euro? Arnautovic?
Oh,
I'll never erase that picture out of my memory.
Are you going to talk about that now? Because we can talk about that now.
I'll never erase that picture.
Man, I couldn't believe how long. I actually felt sorry for Austria in the end. I was looking at my push. I'm like, how long are they going to let them celebrate this goal before they go on? I could see it was offside straight away. I'm like, wow, we're going on 2 minutes now before they actually check this goal.
Don't talk about La Nazionale, boys. Armando gets upset.
Get coffee. Enjoy.
Hey, Anthony, just while you're speaking about strikers, and I saw a stat today, and I'm interested in your thoughts. I haven't been able to fact check it whether it's right or not, but Serie A average goals 3.25, Bundesliga 2.98, League One 2.95, Premier League 2.64, and La Liga 2.4. Take what you want from that, right? Whether it's whether it's the quality of defending or what it is, but if people say Serie A is not attacking at the moment,
but it's consistent. It's consistent. If you look at it over a longer period, you'll see that it's actually consistent. So, gone are the days of 70s, 80s, 90s football when most teams won 1-0 or was a 0-0 draw, 1-1 draw. We've seen these big results on a consistent basis. So, whoever calls us a boring league just really doesn't know football.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think our defenses went worst. Italy defense went worst.
I think the rule changes have affected the way the Italians defend. The way their referee is cracked down on it. But from an attacking point of view, you see teams. Pioli does it a lot. He's always on the front foot now. Very rarely are teams, trying to play back a lot. Well, from what I see, it's more attacking brand. So I'm all for it. I enjoy it a lot more.
Napoli, 10 goals in 2 games, man.
Yeah.
10 goals in 2 games. There's a guy from Napoli, a whole guy on Twitter, man, going off.
Can I say something, Riccardo? I'm used to have top scorer. I would like to have something else. I prefer to finish second on the top scorer and get something. We had Higuain, we had Cavani, we had, you mentioned what we had. So I'm happy to have the best striker in the league. But I prefer have the 3rd striker in the league and get something else,
Let's stay on strikers, man, to be honest, because I got a lot to talk about of this, my friend, right here, and Armando's going to have even more to talk about him. Bro, when I watch this guy right here move the ball, I'm watching Romelu Lukaku minus 35 kilograms, but still with the same athleticism, man. It's absolutely brilliant. Armando, 2-0 against Cagliari. You have the floor. Well done on the victory, but well done on your number 9. He's really looking the centerpiece. He's looking amazing.
Listen, it would be very bad if we congested the whole game on Osimhen, but let's start on Osimhen. Osimhen, last year when we got him, I watched him play, the game that he was able to play, and I remember saying, with Osimhen, it's a different Napoli, because Osimhen has something that not many defense in Serie A, and I'm not talking about Europe, because let's limit it Serie A, can control, which is a speed. But he had a problem last year. He was going down very often. He was very skinny. If you see now, he start building up, And now, no, only he uses speeds and his power and is unbelievable. But now when he wins the ball, you don't get a ball off him. He doesn't make mistakes. You know what? The center back from Cagliari, I know it's a old dude, but
Godin?
Sorry?
Godin.
It's a guy with experience. He did not win one contrast against it, no one. And he actually cost him the penalty. That tells you. But these kids now is got into confidence as well. The thing that I like about him, if you see him he's on social media, you never see him in a nightclub. You never see him with blondes. You never see him with expensive watch, with cars. You see him every time he's on holiday. He's back in Africa playing the street where he come from. And trust me, those streets are like there's no street. They call street, but they're no street. They're just village. No, it's very. You know what? When you look at the history of the top player in the world, I'm not saying he's a top player, but he's got those things that might lead to that. They always humble. And they're always close to their heritage. They never leave the place where they're born. They always attach with the poverty. They always have the anger. If you see him, he's not the most technical player in the league, but he's the most focused player in what he's doing. So even when he crumble a ball, he's so determined, so focused that he get it again.
Yeah.
All right. But beside him, Napoli, you know, when you have a puzzle and you're missing a part that is the most important part, with Anguissa, I think we find, like, I don't know, something unbelievable. I don't know how to classify him.
I'm glad we brought him up. I'm glad we brought him up 4 weeks ago, bro, because I saw his performance. I'm like, this isn't the sort of player that's going to play well once and then shit the bed afterwards, man, because he's been very good.
Let's go back to the game. I watched the game. Napoli's playing the same game week in and week out. The beauty of Napoli is ball possession, but not the boring ball possession that I saw for a year and a half with the Gattuso, where the ball goes from the right to the left and back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper hold the ball, may pass it to the center back under pressure, might make a mistake, cost us a goal. It's side to side, direct. Side to side, direct. So what happened right now with Napoli is we know that we can do the possession game. We know that we have the players like Zelinski, Fabian, Insigne, but all the other team in the past, they used to be congested, press are high, and we will struggle to pass them. Now, what happened is, if they press are high, we play the ball in, out, behind the defense line for Osimhen to make the run. So they cannot press so high. They're going to sit back. But when they sit back, when you got players that can play one-touch football, then you also then. So Napoli right now, if this is the real Napoli, the question is this is the real Napoli? We don't know. Because it could be no. Look, we are on game 6, guys. We could be a peak of the form. It could be that all the players have the best game so far together. We don't know. But if this is the real Napoli, I'm gonna have a lots of fun this year.
Of course, man. Now go on.
I think this needs to also be see with the other teams if they pick up they form, bottom of their form, you know, because it's easy to say, Juventus is struggling because the light he hasn't played at the best of his form. But is the real delight the one that we saw in the last 3 games, or the one we saw at Ajax, or the one we saw last year at Juventus? It's something with Napoli. Is the real Anguissa the one that we saw for the last 6 games? I'm gonna pay for him. I'm gonna tell them, Randy, tell me where is this agent? I'll buy him and I'll give it to Napoli. Is this the real Osimhen? And also, don't forget, we got the African Cup coming up.
Yeah.
And Napoli now, if you watch Koulibaly, Anguissa, Osimhen, you play the games without those 3. I don't know how we're going to cope it without those 3.
Amo, say something about Osimhen. He reminds me, it's between Wea and Asprilla.
Yeah, I know, the same. And he's young. Listen, the kids needs to put some muscle in his legs. If he put muscle in his legs, it reminds me exactly. He's got that speed and the chaos of Asprilla. Right, it looks like he's almost losing the ball, but he's always there.
Asprilla, good player.
Oh yeah, man. Find me a player like Asprilla where in Europe right now.
Yeah.
They'll be top players.
No Drogba, not close to Drogba.
No.
But where I can see where Asprilla. Osimhen is Osimhen anyway, but it's going.
But it's good to have that comfort because then you know what you need to expect from him, that kind of football style, you know. On top of that, I think we find the perfect match for Koulibaly. Koulibaly with Ramani next to each other look like a yin and yang. So Manuel has to be good to sit on the bench. Sorry?
Yin and yang, not yin or yang.
But it sounds better, yin and yang, bello.
You got to get a
We need to use cacophonic sound. Right?
That's the Napolitano equilibrium.
Dialect. That's a dialect.
It's in the dialect. So, all right. Whatever you guys say, I agree with you. Whatever it's the black and white, right?
From Secondigliano, man. You got that from Secondigliano.
I like Riccardo would like me to say Koulibaly and Ramani are like black and white together, you know?
No, I can't say that. That's politically incorrect, brother. Sorry.
Man, all right, they really shit together. Can I say that?
Beautiful, trust me. Anything can be said. But more importantly, despite Napoli's good form, Cagliari have got 2 points. That's crap. That's absolutely crap. Like Balladini, sorry, not Balladini. What I'm talking about. That's the next game. Cagliari, they're only one of 2 sides out of 20 without a win so far this season, and I couldn't care less if they get relegated or not. You want to put together a team with bloody João Pedro, Godin, Nandes, Strootman, Keita Balde, Cepitelli together and start flirting with relegation? That's on you. That's on you, man. I've been frustrated with this team for 4 years. They're the only bloody club that knows how to take Beppe Marotta to the cleaners in the transfer market, for God's sake, and absolutely ruin Inter off the pitch. So for me personally, if Cagliari need to get relegated, man, I'm absolutely for it, bro. I've got absolutely.
Can I say something, Anthony? Mazzarri only took over 3 games ago, and unfortunately, those 3 games were playing 10 days.
Yeah,
I truly believe that Mazzarri. Yeah, time. The only thing is, when you listen to him after the game, it's like Mourinho. Don't get me wrong, Adam. It's like Sarri. I had both of them. They always somebody else's fault when the team does not perform. Yeah. They never put their hands up and say, we're not that good. But it's always the position, the referee, the style, the weather, the pitch, the sun, the time you play the game, And listen, I come from Sarri. Sarri was whinging because we're playing before Juventus. Then Sarri was whinging when we played after Juventus. And then Sarri was whinging because we're playing with Juventus. And as a supporter, sometimes you get carried away. You like to believe them. But then after, when you step out, you think, come on, man, really? So Mazzarri is one of those, and I didn't like what he said. He said, Napoli didn't do anything, and a draw supposed to be a more normal result. I don't know if you guys watched the game, but you're gonna tell me what
Mazzarri watched a different game, man.
Yeah, I
know. He's just trying to pressure already, isn't he? Yeah,
he was watching a different game, brother.
Listen, can I say one thing that I was going to say before? There is a player for Roma, perfect for Roma. He's a centre-back from Sampdoria, Colby. That kid is something to have a look about. I really like him. Remind me of a young Koulibaly when he first started up. He still makes some mistakes, but hey, Riccardo, I think he was the only good defender against Juventus if you watch the game.
Yeah, but without striker, man.
That's true too.
Even Australian defense would be looking good, man.
Oh, man. That's good.
Yeah, but anyways, listen. The only things I would like to whinge about is Napoli's been on top of the ladder for 3 consecutive games for the first time in 10 years, and they had to play all 3 games in 1 week. I don't even have the time to enjoy for a longer time.
Everyone played 3 games. He's starting to win.
I know, but listen.
Yeah, but Napoli never win those 3 games. They won those 3 games.
Enjoy the 3 games in 3 weeks. That means I'm on top of the ladder for 21 days. No, I'm going to be
Armando, you need to win the next game, and then for 2 weeks you'll be looking the ladder on top. For 2 weeks.
Yeah, beautiful. You see, in that case, I would love the national break. That would be the best national break ever.
Of course.
National break, man. You're not going to watch a national break, man. You're going to go against Italy.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Guys, moving on to the next fixture now, bro. I don't know who saw this. Zoom in if you can't see it. Man scored a goal with a water bottle in his hand. We said this at the start of the season when we previewed. I literally said it with my own mouth. There's only so many goals Deathstroke can score you throughout a season. Well, I'll tell you right now, bro, he is going at me match day for match day. Man scored a goal with his water bottle. At the end of the day, 3-1 Hellas Verona and Genoa. The biggest talking point from this match, I guess, from an overall Italian footballing point of view is that it's a new beginning for Genoa. Italy's oldest club. New owners, Americans for Balladini and his side as he hopes to not get sacked for the 17th time in his career. Very entertaining match. Game ends with the share spoiled, but at the end of the day, really, really good. I wanted to go around the table, at least to a couple of people, to ask an overall question. In terms of the overall American influence in Italian football and Serie A, do you think this is a good move for Genoa to be bought out by these American owners? I'm going to go to Armando first and Riccardo second.
You know, that's why you started with me. You like the war, huh?
Yeah, of course.
We have more than 7 or 9 teams in Serie A owned by foreigners. All right, I think one is Venezia or Spezia, one of the two. One is Genova.
Spezia, I think.
Spezia.
Yeah.
Genova.
Parma.
Roma.
Serie A Parma.
Roma and Parma.
AC Milan. Inter. I don't remember the rest. Now, beside AC Milan now with the third handover and Inter last year, I didn't see any of these people from outside of Italy bringing anything to the table that was consistent. Actually, we had so many Chinese buying Serie B and Serie C team that they went busted. So I'm all against this because they take away the most important thing, and we're talking about on the chat. Are you going to sell a player from Roma to Lazio? I know that people get used to, but back in those days when the president were also attached to the people, attached to the team, to the Eastern heritage, will be very hard to see a player moving from Inter to Milan for Juventus. And when that was happening, was like a big scandal. It was for big money. Now, these people, they don't care. They hear to Fiorentina's got an Americano. You know, Fiorentina's doing better than what they did with Della Valle for 10 years? No. So I'm against this stuff, honestly. Juventus had the same owner for 100 years. Napoli, I'm lucky. I think De Laurentiis is one of the best we could get. Lots of Napoletani against De Laurentiis, but I have no clue what they're talking about because the people that are against De Laurentiis, they deserve the Corbelli and Denaldi. They deserve the Serie B. They deserve the president to sell fake painting on public TV to make money. We should be proud of our club's history, and if anybody comes from outside that wants to take over, at least go through a test, like an immigration test. Do you know what Juventus is? Do you know what Roma is? What was the capital of Roma for the last 10 years? You know, how many river there is in the city? Give me some bloody, some respect for bloody stuff. Don't make me swear.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
See, Adam like it.
I like it because I feel like that there's this continuous education process for some of these people when they're buying something blind. That's what it feels like because it comes out six months down the track. It comes out that I don't know. James Pallotta didn't know that Italo Foschi was the founder of Roma. Like it was only in 1927. It wasn't in 500 BC. So I find that a disrespect when my president doesn't know who founded the club 6 months after he's bought the club.
He probably thought he was a gladiator, man.
Guys, I can say I'm living in Italy for a year and a half now, you know, after being 25 years in Australia. Okay, Italians, the moment the financial situation in Italy, I know Amo likes the romantics, like Adam, probably everyone on this board, you know what I mean? There's no money for Italian, man. Going to invest in an Italian club, it's a lot of money. The America coming to Italy because they can't go to England anymore because the big club been taking. Definitely they got Germany will not allow them because Germany is really tough. They will not go to France because France is a farmer league. They will not go to Spain because if you don't buy Real Madrid or Barcelona, who are you gonna buy? You know what I mean? So the only other nation free run is Italy. Now I'm not saying I'm against to it, but if you want to keep the league with money in it, I think it's a good move. I'm happy Preziosi is out of the football. I don't like Preziosi because it's bad. Just no.
And let's leave with the word back. Preziosi, it's the old the Vecchia Repubblica kind of style.
It's like Lotito, you know what I mean? It's like Berlusconi times. For Italians, we say Berlusconi times.
The shifty stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, you know what I mean? Genoa, hopefully it's good for Genoa, you know what I mean? Because I like Genoa, Sampdoria. I like to be in Serie A. They've been there for a long time. But I want to spend 2 seconds, and I want to actually congratulate Tudor. Tudor, man, last year he was even the second coach of Juventus, and now he got the first gig. And Verona, it's, you know, in the last 3 games, they're doing really well. I mean, I'm surprised that definitely there was something last year in the changing room of Juventus because Tudor didn't have a word, and he's a good coach. Up to now, he's a good coach.
He looked like it. He didn't look like he didn't spend much time with Pirlo or his tactical because
No, I think it's true. They fight and then they didn't talk. Definitely, because it's showing in all soccer.
And credit to Verona, because all of us at the start of the season, we credit Verona to be one of the first to go down.
Correct.
Yeah.
They might still go down. They might
still a long way to go. We'll have to see what happens, man. Last game we're going to talk about. I was going to talk a tiny bit about Salernitana towards the end, but as of right now, I'm actually thinking of pushing it back to next week because there was a little bit I wanted to talk about. We've already gone for 55 minutes. But in terms of the final fixture that we're going to discuss, La Viola got another 3 punti on the road to Udinese. Tough game to win on the road. Vlahovic, after playing poorly for most of the game, converts the penalty and turns into the hero. I'm going to go into Adam first, and he's going to have a bit of a chat as well. Another 3 points for Italiano's men, bro. And on the road this time, they're putting together some momentum, Adam.
Yeah, they are. And look, if Jorginho was your sure bet last season in Europe for penalties, then surely the man on screen is your bet this season. He doesn't look like missing at all from the spot, and we've seen that over a couple of weeks now. That run up and his strike on the ball is awesome to watch. Quite a passive first half, I thought, with neither team able to grapple any momentum. And it wasn't until that contentious penalty that the game was blown wide open. Again, the opinions probably divided on whether Bonaventura went down easily, but there was contact, and when it slowed down, I guess there's enough room for VAR to intervene. Dragowski was kept busy. As Udinese looked likely in the second half to equalise and had chances through Makengo and Beto. And there was a scramble in the box there. Just credit to Italiano. I know I've talked about Roma's defensive positioning, but Viola's was awesome in terms of when that ball comes into the box. There was a couple of times there were scrambles, they were able to clear their lines. Delafeu kept them quite busy, always causing havoc on that side. But another 3 points for Viola, guys. I mean, they're now sitting 5th. They're equal with us. Fourth spot. So look, we've already spoken about the fact that how much they've changed in terms of their coaching under Italiano. I think they're going to scare a lot of teams this season. No surprise there. When you look at the game tactically, their rotations in general play under his guidance just provides a very entertaining football, I think. And I'm thinking he's going to have a really good managerial career, this bloke. I guess if you had to compare him now at this stage of his career, he reminds you a lot of Spalletti at Udinese back in the early 2000s and mid-2000s. Interested to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah, man, I'll go to Anthony first, and then we'll go around the table to finish off what's been an awesome edition of Serie A Roundtable on Football Worldwide. Thanks, Anthony.
I'll keep it quick, but yeah, I agree with Fiorentina. I mean, that makes Inter's win away to Fiorentina even more impressive, because they're not an easy team to play against. Watching the game on Sunday, I just felt that, Udinese looked dangerous in parts, but Fiorentina still, to me, just a bit better, and you always thought they were going to get the points. I'm interested, Adam, we saw Beto play for Udinese. I haven't seen a lot of their games this year. I thought he did okay. But then Pussetto on the bench, who I rate as a pretty good player for Udinese. Do you think that worked, that move, or how do you think Beto went in place of Pussetto?
Yeah, no, I think he did okay. I mean, the service wasn't great, I must admit. They had Delafeu, like I said, terrorising that side, and it was literally better play and get the ball into the box. It was really basic fundamental stuff. There wasn't many balls played into his feet for him to actually do anything. But he did have a couple of chances, a couple of shots too, where Dragowski was good enough to save them. So I think you might keep him out of the team, man.
Okay, that's an interesting one because Pussetto before his injury last year, I thought he was one of the most attacking players and good to play up front for Udinese, suited their style. Now with Delafeu in there as well, it'll be interesting to see if he keeps his spot or not.
Udinese playing that typical terrorist style of football that we saw last season, all with it a little bit of attacking fluence in it, because when you lose a player like Rodrigo De Paul, who I think might actually be regretting his move, but that's a talk for another time. Udinese this season had a really good start, but the way the Fiorentina juggernaut is trucking along, I really think as long as they have a good first half to the season, they should really cash in on Vlahovic at the end. it might just be me, but I think his promise is going to outweigh his presence at the end of the season. And if Fiorentina and Commisso can cash in on that, I think it would be better for them. And that's where I'm going to end it with Zuamo and Riccardo. Do you think Vlahovic has what it takes to make it as a Serie A striker throughout years and years of pedigree? Or should Fiorentina build this guy up and cash in as soon as possible and use it as the rebuilding structure for their centerpiece in their club?
I go first.
Yeah.
You know what I said last year too, and people accused me because they said, "Are you talking good about Osimhen? You don't talking good about Vlahovic because he's not a Napoli." And it was last year. What I see when I judge a player, and I do that often every day, you know, through my job. I try to see what things that you cannot coach, the things that are natural, that are gifted, and then I say, you know, these kids might have a career, and same I do with the players because. The stuff that I can coach, but the stuff that you cannot coach, that if they don't get it, it's hard to them to learn it. Vlahovic, it reminds me of a Kalinic, of a Milik, of I don't know. It could be better than them, but right now, that's the kind of goal he scored. You know, remember when Kalinic was at Fiorentina? The first few seasons? Yeah. Remember the first Milik at Napoli? Then, of course, he got injured. There's all other stuff. But yeah, it could be a great striker, but one of those strikers, in my opinion, needs to prove me with the longer terms. Yeah. Chiesa doesn't need to prove me for 3 years. I can see that he's got the sparkle that you cannot coach, the genie. But then he can become. He has to work on. Osimhen, he's got a magic thing that you cannot coach. But they all can fail. The thing is, in order for me to judge Vlahovic at this stage, has nothing special, unexpected from me to say he's going to be the next star. It could be a very good striker, but he needs to prove week in and week out for me.
Fair enough. Riccardo, you want to finish off on that, man?
Yeah, I'll say about Fiorentina, 2 seconds. I think they're going to be good this year, but I think they're going to struggle with the top 3. And there was against Inter, was the first game. Probably they're going to struggle against Napoli. They will play the game of the season against Juventus. So we all know that. But yeah, Fiorentina is going to be good from 5th to bottom teams. And that's where they're going to round out. Vlahovic, I agree with Armando. For the money Commisso wants, 60 plus. You know what I mean? I don't know in the top team if like say Juventus will buy Vlahovic a play for him. You know what I mean? When you go on the top team, you got to adapt. So I don't know if he's ready.
Like Bellotti, Riccardo, like Bellotti.
I don't know if he's ready for the gig, you know what I mean?
I think Vlahovic would have been perfect at Milan.
Belotti's had so many years in Serie A. To be honest, you could put Belotti in any top team in Serie A, and I still think he would improve. Vlahovic is a little bit more of a risk, but Belotti, it still amazes me how he's gone this long, ragazzi, without actually generating a move, honestly.
I agree.
The Cairo wants 100 million. Did he really prove that he's 100 million?
No, he wants 100 million for years ago, man.
I know, but he's probably forgotten that we are post-COVID. If you call Cairo, hey Cairo, what about 110?
Yeah. Guys, COVID unfortunately ruined a lot of money for the clubs. You know, we're talking about 8.5 million.
The cash, I reckon he would have been perfect under Ibra.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of money.
Vlahovic.
Belotti to take over Ibrahimovic is a fantastic idea for Milan. I still think they should execute at some point.
There's rumours that we would like to get him, but you hear a million rumours about Belotti every year, and he stays at Torino. So
yeah, and then eventually he'll move to you guys when he's 33 and when you don't want him.
I like the striker to watch is Ibram from Roma. I think he's the one that's got to be improve a lot.
He's not getting the service. It's a problem.
But when Pellegrini is not there, that's the problem.
Well, how many games is he expected to start this season, Adam? If you're more geared towards starting Tammy Abraham.
Well, that's the thing though. He's only used 15 players in 8 games.
Yeah.
So, it's you got Boya Mayoral on the bench that hasn't seen he's seen about 10 minutes of game time. So I'm hoping Conference League away this week in the far reach of Europe. These players that haven't played get a run because they can't play every 3 days for the duration of the whole over the whole season. So,
Yeah, the script suits. All right, guys, it's been over an hour. It's been very, very fun. Time flies when you're having fun. So one by one, I'm just going to go around the table. Riccardo, thank you so much for joining us from Sicilia, my friend, and we'll see you very soon.
Guys, a pleasure to be on the show. I say hi to all the boys in Australia and Armando in Napoli. Enjoy the Maradona Stadium. And yeah, man, see you next time. Forza Juve.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Zio Amo, for joining us from the Zio Amo Stadium over in Napoli.
Thank you, guys. Always nice to be here. Look, the show is over 1 hour, but if you cut all the burpers and all the beep things from me, you're probably gonna go down to half an hour. Riccardo, because I'm in Napoli, get the table ready. I'm coming for lunch. All right, I'll be in
Okay, brother.
in a few hours. Ciao.
I'll wait for you.
See ya, boys.
Adam, thank you so much for joining us, my friend, bro. I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thanks, boys. Some mouth-watering fixtures this weekend again. Look forward to talking about them next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Albeit with some bloody Champions League fixtures in between. It's absolutely chaotic. European football coming back. Anthony, good to hear from you, man. It was good to see you again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me again. And Amo, you know, you're above me up there, and maybe next week I can be up top if we keep you on the league ladder and you
next week
down.
I'm here.
So hopefully you're down here next week.
You got Atalanta, eh? It's not an easy one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
man,
think about away as well. So it's
going to be good. I can't wait. All right, boys, from all of us here at Football Worldwide, grazie. Thank you very much. Ciao, ragazzi.
Bye, boys.